What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the first guide back on the channel. This is going to be an updated version of the beginner's guide to Vorkath. Now, this is going to be a range guide to Vorkath. I've been seeing a bunch of melee out there. I like the range one particularly. So we're going to run through kind of a beginner setup for someone who might have just finished Dragon Slayer 2, and then a beginner setup in terms of someone who has been doing other activities, has money, and is going to do Dragon Slayer 2. So we'll be covering both those in this guide. The first thing is why Vorkath, and that's just because Vorkath prints money. She has an incredible drop table, 2 guaranteed superior dragon bones, 2 guaranteed blue dragon hide, and then just a plethora of other items that are worth a ton of money. You'll see some of them up on the screen, but there will be a wiki down in the description. You can go check out that loot table if you want. I think the calculated average drop is 136k per kill. So just a ton of money, especially when the kills happen in a couple of minutes. As for requirements, the requirements for this are going to be somewhat steep. First one, you have to complete Dragon Slayer 2. That is a big requirement in itself. You can't do the boss without it. You're also going to want 80 attack, strength, defense, range. This is a little higher than what I had normally had on my other guide, but it just makes the kill a little smoother. You're going to want at least 39 magic, because we'll be casting Crumble Undead, but the higher mage, the better, especially for the advanced method. And then the higher prayer, the better, 60 ideally, minimum. You need protection prayers, then you want to have some range enhancing prayers, at least Eagle Eye, but the more prayer, the less you kind of have to bring prayer potions. Then you are also going to want to have completed Haunted Mine and Tarn's Lair. That is because Vorkath counts as an undead, so we can use the Salve Amulet EI. It's going to have 20% damage on all styles to undead. It is the best thing to use at Vorkath. So aside from the Dragon Slayer 2 line and the stats, Haunted Mine, Tarn's Lair mini quest, definitely a necessity. For the items you'll want Full Void. It's going to be a necessity on our switches, especially for lower level. I would say go and try and grind out Elite Void because it will make your kills a ton faster. So you'll want the range and mage helm, and then just full Elite Void. The Salve Amulet EI. So Salve Amulet from Haunted Mine, the enchanted portion from Tarn's Lair, then the imbued portion from Nightmare Zone, which is going to cost you 800,000 points, but the imbued means it works with range, so it's a necessity there. You're going to want some sort of range bonus boots, whether you have Robin Hood boots, Pegasians, or you're just using Dragonhide boots. Whichever of those works. You're going to have Prayer Scroll just for a little bit of prayer increase, and then however you want to increase your melee. You're going to want a BGS to lower the special, or Dragon Warhammer, whichever you have. I'm going with Fire Cape, Berserker Ring, but whatever you have, whatever you fancy. Just increase your bonuses enough so that you can have some good Vorkath specs. We're going to be switching for our range switch into the range Void Helm, Blowpipe, an Accumulator, or Assembler, whichever one you have. You won't have the Assembler initially when you do Vorkath, but you'll get a head drop and you'll get it. And then the Archer's Ring. I do have my Blowpipe. It is filled with Adamant Darts and Scales, so it's not Rune Darts. If you're finding you're struggling a bit, Rune Darts will work just as well. But I'm using Addy Darts, and they work pretty wonderfully. As for the inventory, aside from our switch, we've got a rune pouch, and that rune pouch is going to be full of 3 different types of runes. We're going to have Chaos Runes, Dust Runes, Law Runes. This is going to allow us to cast 2 spells. First one's going to be Teleport to House. Second one's going to be Crumble Undead. Crumble Undead we'll get into in a little bit. Teleport to House is just for a reset, and it's definitely your easiest way to get here, which we'll touch on in a little bit. Then you're going to want a couple potions. For this method, you're going to want a Super Combat for your specs, a Bastion Potion for defense and range. You need an Anti-Venom. You need a Super Extended Anti-Fire. And then you're going to want at least 1 Prayer Potion, if not 2, and fill up the rest of your inventory with food. The last thing you're going to want to do for this method is going to be set up your quick prayers, and you're going to want whatever your best range enhancing prayer is, and then Protect from Mage. Now, for this method, Protect from Mage, because we're going to use Protect from Mage and the extended Super Anti-Fire to block almost all of the Dragonfire damage. The range or Mage Protect is basically a 50-50 on the damage otherwise. So in this method specifically, Mage is going to benefit you more. Now, for the dream setup we are all going for Vorkath, this is what we've got here. So you'll notice a couple of changes. The first one, no melee switch. You don't really need it with this setup, especially with decent stats. You can fill up your inventory without needing a melee switch. It makes it a little more relaxed, a little more chill. It will make your kills a little slower, but again, you're going to get more loot just in a specific trip. So that doesn't bother you. Just run this. If it does bother you, feel free to bring a melee switch. The big difference is here. We've got a Dragon Hunter crossbow. We've got a Dragon Fire Ward. We also have ammo now because we're using a crossbow. So the first thing you're going to want to do, we've got some Ruby Dragon Bolt Enchanted. That is going to be used for the first half of the kill because the special does life percentage based on how much life the thing you're killing is. And then once we get to about halfway, when it doesn't become worth it anymore, we've got Diamond Dragon Bolt Enchanted, which just do extra damage. Now with this, we've scrapped the melee switch, and then we've scrapped a couple of potions. So because we can stay here longer, I'm bringing 2 prayer potions. I usually end up using 1, but the second one just in case. A full Bastion potion, a full anti-venom, and then a full super extended anti-fire. Now with this, I also changed my quick prayers to what I had set up before. I use protect from range instead of protect from mage. That is specifically because mage defense also counts on your mage level, so the higher mage level the better, and I find range just hits harder. So we are using protect from mage once we're up at this level. Editor note in here, we can also use protect from range instead of protect from mage because the Dragonfire Ward counts as an anti-dragon shield. That will help us completely block the Dragonfire, so we do not need to use protect from mage for that. These runs become a lot smoother and a lot easier, a lot more profitable. So once you get up to this point, which unless you get some really lucky RNG is going to take you quite a while, this is the ideal setup you're looking at. Everything else stays the same. We're still using the Elite Void, still a Sav Amulet, and the only thing you can really change out is Pegasians, which they're good. I just will eventually change to them. One other thing I have set up for my runs is my F1 through F4 keys go to specific tabs in my inventory. So F1 is going to be my attack styles, which is helpful if you're doing BGS specking. You can just get there quickly and get out. F2 is going to be inventory. The most important one, I have F3 going to my magic tab. You'll see why that is in a second. It's very important to be quick on this. Then F4 goes to my prayer tab in case I need to change prayers. That's something that I've found very helpful in this. Now that we've seen both of the styles of combat that we can use, depending on how much money you have at your disposal, how do we get there? Now, how to get there and how to reset after a kill. We're going to cast Teleport Home. Now, this works if you have a rejuve pool in your house, which I do. If not, you can go to Clan Wars or somewhere else to reset first. Then you're going to want to just drink from your pool. And then one of the things you get from doing Lunar Diplomacy, which is a requirement to do Dragon Slayer 2, is Lunar Isle Teleport. That is what you're going to use to get back to Vorkath. Just build a portal in your house. You'll be teleported right here. You're going to bank at Bird's Eye Jack because he will allow you to bank without a seal of passage. And then once you've regeared, just talk to one of the other bank booths. They will just kick you out. And once you're back in Relica, you're just going to come up to this dock to the right here, and you're going to use Ungal on Torfin. You will have to talk to Torfin initially so that he'll travel you there the first time, but after that, you can just right-click on him. Then you're at Vorkath and ready for your kill. Now we are going to go over each of Vorkath's attacks one by one. We're going to go over the basic attacks. This blue ball is the mage attack. Depending on which method you're doing it, it's either going to hurt you a bunch or it's not going to hurt you at all. The second one is this little spiky ball. That is just a normal ranged attack. Now the next things we'll go over are the Dragon Breath attacks. The first one, this orange one, is just the normal Dragon Breath. The second one, the dark green one, that is going to be the Venom Dragon Breath. So once you get hit by that, if you're not already protected against Venom, use your anti-Venom. The third one, the purple one, just turns off your prayers. So once you get hit by that, click a quick prayers, you'll be good to go. And the fourth one is going to be a little different depending on if you're playing on the RuneLite HD beta plugin or the normal one. It's either going to be blue on the HD beta plugin or white if you're just playing with normal RuneScape. This one is why we have Crumble Undead. One trick with this one, you'll see me do it here. I always click to move in any direction so that my character stops attacking, because what we're going to want to do is he's going to send out an undead spawn. We're going to have to click over to our mage tab, use Crumble Undead on that undead spawn before it gets to us. If it dies within a tile of our character, we do take a ton of damage. Clicking away like I do, make sure I cancel any other animation, because you can still shoot Vorkath after that blue or white burst has come out, and Vorkath doesn't take any damage, so it's useless anyway, and if you have an animation lag where you can't cast immediately, it could cause you a lot of damage. Once you see that blue or white flame and you've already done your movement click away, you can also turn off your prayer because you won't need prayer and it will save you a little bit of prayer points. There's a short time after you've killed that undead spawn that you cannot attack Vorkath, so feel free to eat a bit of food if you need to, flick your prayer back on, it'll be a moment before Vorkath attacks anyway, and then you can keep going. Also, as you'll see here, you can kill Vorkath as Vorkath throws out that blue flame. If that happens, you still do need to kill the undead spawn. It will not despawn just because Vorkath dies and will still do the damage, so make sure you take care of it before you go and take your loot. Next up are going to be the special attacks for Vorkath. First one up is the acid attack. We will not be wooks walking in this guide. So what this is Vorkath throws up a bunch of acid pools and then shoots constant fireballs. We have walk on because you can easily just walk away and continue to walk. It makes it a lot easier. If you step on any of the acid pools, you will take damage and Vorkath will heal for that damage. If you stop in your spot, you will get hit by a fireball and it will do, I believe, 30 damage. And if you continue to stand in that spot, every time you will get hit with a fireball and you will die. So you want to constantly move here and you want to avoid the acid pools. What I do is I try to find a pretty clear line that I go back up and forth with until the phase is done. You can also flick off your prayer here because we're not doing any attacking and we're not being attacked in the way that we need to have our prayer on. So feel free to flick off your prayer, save from prayer points, walk back and forth, and then once it's over, you can get going. The second special attack and the last of Vorkath's attack is this Dragon Fireball Meteor. Vorkath shoots a Dragon Ball up in the air and it slowly arcs and hits a spot in the ground. The spot it hits is the spot you were standing at the time it was cast. To avoid any damage, you just have to make sure that there is one tile in between the landing spot and your character. So you'll walk 2 tiles in any direction and continue firing. It is a very easy attack to dodge, but if you don't pay attention, it will end your run. All right, and then since this is a beginner's guide, I am going to do a run with the beginner setup. Now my stats aren't as a beginner's would be, but we do with what we can. So we're gonna walk up, we're gonna sip our super combat, we're gonna wake them up, we're gonna get run on, get our special going. We're going to get Piety instead of Ranger's Eye. We're going to whack once, run away. We're going to run up, whack again. We're going to use our anti-fire. I didn't sip my actual super anti-fire. There we go. And we're good. Now we'll just sit here and get our kill. once you have these mechanics down, the fight itself is pretty easy. It's just keeping yourself alive. It's always gonna, as a RuneScape game, a little bit of lucky RNG never hurts anyone, but with the setup, you can definitely manage a kill a trip, and a kill a trip is, regardless of what gear you're using, is going to profit you. And there we go. There is a kill with easy setup. Half food used, no prayer potions. Nothing crazy. Now I'll take you through a not scuffed at all, very good run. Maybe. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to poke Vorkath. We're going to drink the anti-fire first. We're going to drink the Bastion and flick on our prayers. And we're just going to start shooting with our ruby bolts. Most of this fight is just shooting until we see her cock back a little bit. She'll shoot the fireball. Step 2 steps to the side, dodge it. Now we want to find the longest lane here. We can flick off our prayers that we can walk up and down for. Now I usually will click on the other side of either pool. That way I just make sure that if I'm getting a little lazy, I know I'm not going to step on the spot I clicked on before the pool and take some damage that I don't need to. Flick our prayer back on and go back to shooting. I usually like to line myself up on this line for no particular reason, but this just tends to be where I live in my Vorkath kills. We're doing a pretty good job tanking all of the mage shots, and now we get the blue flame. We flick off our prayer, and we go do our spell. If you see there, that step I do is very actually important, because if I am going to... Your character will keep casting once Vorkath shoots that blue flame. Your character will still attack, and Vorkath cannot be injured at that point. So there's 1, no point to shoot her, but 2, that animation will then delay when you can throw out Cast Undead, and that actually can delay it enough that by the time your character casts Crumble Undead, the Scorpion will be on top of you and you'll take damage. So that click off to make sure you stop attacking is actually vitally important, and making sure you don't eat during that time, nothing of that sort, because it can cost you a lot more than you would think. Gonna get ourselves back in line here. Not going too terribly. These mage hits are starting to come in hot and heavy though. Our prayer is fresh up. Usually with this setup, for an extended anti-fire, you can... extended super anti-fire, you can usually get in 2 kills pretty easily, as long as you're actually doing damage. Flick our prayers back on. Just a little 2-step to the side, then you can continue attacking. You can usually get an attack in during that as well. Like, those 2 steps are pretty easy to get, so you can usually get in 2 steps there, and there's our kill. I hope you all enjoyed this guide. Don't forget to leave a like if you did. Comment down below letting me know what other things you would like to see guides on. Feel free to subscribe if you're new here. I will be doing more of this and other RuneScape content out. And until next time, I'll see everyone later.